This video is going to show you how you can export your Rhino model and import that Rhino model into Revit to use a tool like wall by face or curtain wall by face so that you can start rebuilding some of these elements in Revit and start to construct and to engineer this building. I'm in my Revit file here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn my context off, and my lot and my boundary is locked because those are already in the Revit file. I don't need those. Whoops, I don't need to drag those tools. I'm going to select everything, and once I have everything selected, I'm going to run a command called export. And here I'm going to put it to a location that I know that I can access. And instead of saving the type as 3DM, which is the default, we're going to go ahead and go down to AutoCAD drawing, which is a DWG file. I'm going to call this test export 3 since I did a few different versions. And now we have this dialog that pops up, and we need to make sure that this is not default, and instead it's 2007 solids. So let's go ahead and hit OK there, and you can see that it was saved successfully as a DWG. And now in my Rhino file, I'm going to, instead of going to the Insert tab, I'm going to go to Architecture, Component, Model in Place. And what we're doing is we're modeling a generic model here as a family, and in that family we're going to go ahead and insert our Rhino file. So I'm going to call this generic model Rhino import. And I'm not going to model anything, but I am going to go to Insert, Import CAD. You can link CAD as well, but import CAD is fine since we're just going straight from Rhino into Revit. We're not going backwards. So you can see that file, test export 3. All the other things should be okay. That is if your model is at the origin. You might have to move it later if it's not at the origin. And I'll show you how to do that. So once I run that, you can see that since my pinned elements, select pinned elements is off, I can't select it because it imports as a pinned element. But here you can see it's all one model. Now you don't have to unpin it because when we go to the in-place editor here and we say finish model, the generic model is movable, but everything inside of it is pinned. So if your file is sort of somewhat off, I would go to a top view and I would use the move command and move it so that you know there's it's on the lot. And you can use the arrow keys as well. But I'm just going to Control Z back here and go to In Place Editor. Let's go to our model here. And it looks like I'm missing an element, and that's because I had accidentally turned off a layer in when I was sort of running through this already. So so I'll explain how you get to layers here. If you type VV and you get to Visibility Graphics, under the imported categories, you can see that we have an imported families option. And when you drop that down, you can see all of your layers that have been imported from Rhino. So I had accidentally turned off these two layers in a previous import, and so now you can see they pop up here. If in some instance you need to model something on the interior and you just want that face, and you really need that face because it's like a curved, you can go to All, and then you can Control click, say, the elevators, and also Control click the imports and families, the parent family, and then uncheck it. And then you can hit Apply, and so now you can see that those are all my elevators. So I'll hit OK here, and I'll do Control Z so you can see it. Run that one more time, VV, Visibility Graphics, and then you can see under the imported categories there's import and families. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn these last two layers on because I know I accidentally had turned them off. And there you go. Now you can go to Architecture, Wall by Face, and you can start to use these, use some of these elements to model your building in Revit.